Astrology time. And today is Wednesday, the 19th of August. Shane here, daily-astrocat.com. And our moon, still in Scorpio, is void of course tonight, finally at 10:48 in the PM here on the East Coast. That's the times I use. So now, did you get that little success signal yesterday? Did any of you find that? Did you connect through memory or similar experiences with somebody or some people? Yeah, intuition is telling us that the moon in Scorpio seems to be pulling from an even deeper place, and we're going to get to that in a moment. Welcome to the second quarter. Now, the second quarter moon, that is, right? It's obviously a square, right? It's when the sun is square the moon in between the new moon and the full moon that's coming up. So this is the chance we're going to have we're going to take a look at the eclipse that happened and put that into perspective. We already talked about that yesterday with getting those nodes, trying to get those nodes rectified with the get that the Virgo and Pisces node back into order. Right now, something we are beginning to learn. There is something we're beginning to learn with Uranus and Gemini, is that stated intentions are easily countermanded, okay? Which is interesting, because remember, I told you those outer planets, such as, Neptune and Pluto and Uranus, seem to function better when they're retrograde. Uranus is still direct, and Uranus will be retrograde just at the beginning of September. So it's starting to come up, right? Because those outer planets will spend, 5 to 6 months retrograde. So it's pretty normal for that. So, think about this. This is something that we're talking about, because the stated intentions being easily countermanded, that makes what matters more than those stated intentions are lived intentions. And in this way, Mars in Cancer is leading our interactions, not with words, but through connections. Those deep connections, those nurturing connections. Now, the time for new leaders is approaching. However, that's also got some things going on with it. And today's keyword is digging, because we're really digging today. Now, the color is red velvet. And whether you make that cake or not, that is entirely up to you. The sun in Leo is square with the moon. That is what is considered a quarter. The sun represents our vitality and our sense of purpose. In Leo, the home of the sun, these properties are strengthened. Leadership and creativity are the traits the sun is said to embody. The sun and Mars, now sun and Mars, have always struck me as strange because of the houses they rule. The first and the fifth seem like they have interchangeable parts and overlapping energies. Like, say, for example, Mars is the ruler of Aries, right? Aries is in the first house. First house is all about self, ego, sun stuff, right? And if you think about it, things that are attributed to the sign of Aries, not the house of Aries, are creativity and a childlike approach to things, right? The perpetual child of the zodiac. Fifth house is about children and a creativity. Okay? So there we have some other overlapping stuff. Can I get a little bit of luck? That'd be nice if we could, right? But, if you think about it, it seems like there's this relationship between the two of them that's overlapping energies. So, as the Leo season winds down, we're going to be looking over our shoulder wondering, what is that we could have possibly done better, and how could we have done this better? Now, does that make it because of the interchangeable things of the first and the fifth houses? Not necessarily. But what it does is it shows us just how important Mars is to not just, the actions and stuff like that, but how important it is as a driver for us to go out and to make things happen. And right now with Mars in Cancer, it's happening in a very different way. Now, today's moon is semi-focused in Scorpio. Now, Mercury and the sun will be squaring the moon at some point today. So the fixed signs are the most unyielding, right? That would be Leo, that would be Scorpio, that would be Taurus, and that would also be Aquarius, right? Those are the fixed signs. So now, they're those energies, when they're square there, have very little leeway. The cardinal squares have ideas, and they will test the ideas and find which one works best, and then kind of, not necessarily synthesize, but they'll pick the better of the two, or they'll pick and choose, be able to go. The fixed signs are like, no, my way or the highway. That's it. It's not going to really be, that's why that's a very tough thing. Now, the mutable signs are pretty easygoing, and they can pretty much flow in any direction that they need to be able to come to a certain conclusion. That's the strength of the mutable signs. So with the fixed energy, this becomes really rigid. It feels rigid, and it feels like it's difficult, right? Now, it's the height of the season. That's what fixed signs are. They're the height of the season. So it's the height of the summer season. And it's neither a beginning nor is it an ending. The sun is in its own sign. The moon, however, is in Scorpio. So the moon brings, so think about this. The ruler of Scorpio, Pluto, or Mars, traditional ruler, right? The traditional ruler of Scorpio, Mars, brings the moon the power of her own house through something called mutual reception, right? We've got Mars in Cancer, and we have the moon in Scorpio. Mars is considered to be in a domicile in Scorpio because ancient ruler. So, with that being said, that mutual reception, that's why those connections yesterday and today are going to feel very strong and important. We're digging into the past to find common ground. Now, there's more to the Scorpio moon than power, libido, and secrets, though. We're actively nurturing our ability to expand our conscious awareness of and to describe the unseen. So honestly, we're actively nurturing our ability to expand our conscious awareness of and to describe the unseen. So the conscious awareness of the unseen and to be able to describe the unseen. Okay, so those words, they've been tough, right? Now, keep an eye out for the angel numbers today and tomorrow. Saturn in Aries is catching my attention. It seems that this is great for some new ideas and for creativity in general. Seems. Courage, leadership, and your drive and tenacity are being tested. Typical things with Saturn, right? However, there's a loosening of the restrictions of Saturn in Aries, because Saturn doesn't like being in Aries. Saturn is considered to be in fallen Aries. So what happens with those things? If Saturn is weakened, those strictures get weakened, and we become more able to expand in ways, right? Which takes it back to the Saturn's role as a co-ruler of Aquarius, or the ancient ruler of Aquarius, because Aquarius is Uranus, right? But it's beyond Saturn. It's beyond that stuff. So that really gets into the role of Saturn being kind of like mushed together with his brother Janus, the keeper of doorways in the ancient Etruscan religions, and providing access to beyond Saturn, right? And so this is a great place to go beyond everything. And with a little bit of digging, we may very well do that, because we're just digging into rulers and digging into nodes and digging into everything here in the astrology, right? Now, there are certain players, look, as a weakened Saturn is reflected in our diminished institutions, okay, because Saturn does represent institutions, and the uncertainty that certain players are bringing to the world in national stages. This, in turn, is amplifying Jupiter in Leo just in time for it to be shut down, okay? That's right, amplifying Jupiter in Leo, but it's going to be just in time for it to be shut down. So we'll be faced with a dilemma. Are the new leaders who are emerging, speaking about change, truly the choice and new direction of things, or were they, air quotes, put there to maintain the status quo? Interesting thought, right? Now, we mentioned him in a birthday. In 1954, American Ralph Bunche is named Undersecretary of the United Nations. 1954. And our birth is John Flamsteed. He's born in 1646 and he died in 1719. He's an English astronomer and was the first astronomer royal, born in Denbigh, England. And that's all I have for you. It's time to go. So, appreciate and love every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your comments and all those kind things. Let's recap, shall we? Today's keyword is digging, because we're going digging, looking for rulers and stuff like that. And our color is red velvet. Today is a 5. Happy astrocatting. Merry old England.